I'll start with my we'll set up the talk to do our Reiki for Cats topic tonight, and then we'll have time for you to share, and then we'll finish with an animal healing circle. So, when I was thinking about tonight, talking about the best ways to share Reiki with cats, I thought about different ways that I could organize this talk. And what I decided I want to do is I want to go back to some common themes that we use in the Let Animals Lead method. And so this is how, the best ways to share Reiki with cats will be organized tonight is through these four themes. And I call it sort of a sum up of the Let Animals Lead philosophy. And my students know this. I call it follow the PAWS because, of course, we let animals lead. So they're in front of us. We're following them. We're following the PAWS, PAWS. So that's actually an acronym. And the P, the A, the W, the S, each of those stands for an important theme in the Let Animals Lead method. And so as I talk about sharing Reiki with cats tonight, I'm going to be focusing in on these very special four themes. And what I like about this, I don't know what they call it when you make up things to help you remember stuff, but over the years when I had to study for tests and memorize things, I always would make little games with myself to help myself remember things. And so, for those of you who are maybe want to share Reiki with cats or really any animal, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, I don't want to leave anything out. I don't want to forget something important. I want to make sure I'm following the ethics. Just think to yourself, follow the pause. And pause stands for the P stands for perfection, the A for agency, the W for wisdom, and the S for space. And so tonight, I'm going to talk about these four themes in relationship to how we share Reiki with cats. And so that's my plan. So first, I want to say every animal is a unique individual. Every cat is a unique individual. And some cats will respond one way to Reiki. Maybe they're Reiki sponges. They come, they lay on your lap, they want to cuddle up with you when you do Reiki. Other cats are very independent and they want to sort of have a lot of physical distance from you when you're offering Reiki, but maybe they'll stay in the room, but they stay on the other side of the room. They don't come physically close. Some cats will fully relax and sleep. Other cats will perhaps lay down, but they kind of keep an eye on you to make sure you're doing it right. So different cats have different personalities, ways to connect with the Reiki energy. And also, cats are always looking for ways to teach us. They're wonderful teachers. And so, especially if you're working with a cat who knows you really well, they may be doing things to teach you the lessons that you need to learn. And maybe you didn't know that those were lessons that you need to learn, but you can kind of watch out for those lessons as well because cats are wonderful teachers. But I would say over the years, working with many, many cats, and I would say most of my cat experience has come from shelter and sanctuary cats. Although I have done a lot of cat Reiki for people, my friends, and just clients who've had me come to their homes to work with cats. But the bulk, I would say, would be rescued cats or the ones who taught me the lessons. And I would say there's something special about that experience, and that is that rescued cats don't always trust human beings because of what they've been through. And so you have to be much more careful in your approach when you're offering animal Reiki. But the beauty of that is once you can work with a rescued cat, you can work with any cat. And in fact, why not use that highest level of care and respect that you would use for a really sensitive cat who's, survived trauma? Why wouldn't we use that wonderful approach even for our own cat at home? So, those lessons from the rescued cats, we should extend all of that courtesy to our very own cat in our home that we're so familiar with. So let's talk about follow the pause. And I want to start with the P for perfection. So I would first say that our cats, when they look at us, they see us for who we are. They see all the way to our soul. And they don't focus on what's wrong with us. And one of the things that I think about when I think about perfection is this is a value that we should hold when we work with our cats, because the least we can do is return the favor. They're already doing this for us. Can't we at least do it for them? And I think about the cats at Bright Haven when I was going through breast cancer back in 2011. And I remember the first time I came back to Bright Haven after my surgery and going through my treatments and everything. And I wasn't feeling very well. And I was kind of like, I was going to teach a class. And I'm like, this might be kind of hard. And all the cats were just surrounding me on my lap. One of the cats, Johnny, he laid himself across my left side, my shoulder. So cute, just being, very loving. I hear some noise in the back. Somebody's unmuted. Let me mute you. Sorry about that. Okay. And so I think what's really wonderful about that experience was that I realized, why am I looking at myself as if I'm broken, as if something's wrong and I can't do this, or it's going to be hard? The cats were just like, you're back. We love you. Everything's great. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Everything is great. I'm still here. I'm back. I'm doing what I love most. And so having the cats at Bright Haven see me for my soul and my spirit and comfort me at that time when I was feeling physically not at my best, for sure, that was incredibly healing. And so that's how our cats see us. Um, they see us for our soul, not for, what's wrong with us. But if we aren't feeling well, they come forward and comfort us and remind us everything's okay. So that seeing the perfection in our animals really comes from what our animals teach us. What it means is seeing with your Reiki eyes. So you see things deeper than the problem. You see things with your heart. You look deeper when you look at your cat. When your cat may be facing an illness, and all of the Bright Haven cats had a myriad of illnesses. Many of them were in hospice, but they carried themselves as if they were whole. And that's something that's so hard for us to do in a difficult situation when we're facing something or our animals facing something. How do we see them as whole? Look to your animals to show you this. So, just as the cats at Bright Haven didn't define themselves by their illnesses, they taught me that I shouldn't be defining myself by my illness either. So, this is, easier said than done. It's really important for us to one thing that helps me remember to do this is however we're looking at our animal is how they're feeling our energy. So that's how sensitive they are. So if we are sitting with our cat and they're sick and we're just thinking, oh my God, you're sick. What's going to happen? This is horrible. Our energy becomes very negative and our mind becomes very narrow because the only thing in our mind is what's wrong, right? And so the idea of perfection is, how can I open my mind enough to see not only what's wrong, because, okay, they got this diagnosis, they're dealing with this illness. Okay, yeah. But that's not the only thing that defines my animal. There are so many other things. Just like us, right? Bad things happen to us, but it's not who we are, right? We are so much more. So when you're sitting with your cat, remember your energy is mirroring back to them what you focus on. So when your cat looks at you, you want them to see, all is well. Everything's okay. I'm here for you. I see you. I care. I love you. You're safe. Whatever kind of that positive energy is, that is like a mirror reflecting back to them. So if your cat is struggling because they've got a diagnosis, they have an illness, they're not feeling well, maybe they're just really old and they have a lot of chronic conditions, it's a way to uplift their energy in that difficult moment they're having, mirroring back to them the positivity, seeing them with your Reiki eyes, seeing deeper than what's wrong, reminding them, I see your light, your beautiful inner light. I see it. And that's what I'm looking at. I see you. Now, whatever they're dealing with isn't important anymore because they are validated. They know that you see them and all is well. They don't have to worry about you either because your energy's okay. Mom's okay. She sees me. I know I'm okay. I don't feel that great, but I'm okay, right? This is how our animals deal with stuff. They don't dwell on that stuff. They're amazing. They sort of transcend it, very resilient, right? Okay, I don't need to worry about mom. She sees that I'm okay. I know I'm okay, whatever I'm dealing with. And so now the way it feels to me when I've been in situations where I have been dealing with an illness or when I'm going through my cancer and not feeling well, when somebody holds you in that space of positivity, it's like the layers of pain just leave you and you lift up out of it so that you can still sense, oh yeah, I've got these issues, but they're not important. They're in the background. What you're embraced in is this amazing sense of well-being, peacefulness, harmony, compassion, and you know everything's okay. And so there's just a dissolving of the pain and suffering. And so if we learn how to see our animals' perfection in those difficult moments, we're helping them transcend whatever pain they may be feeling in that moment. So the important thing to remember, it's not that we're pretending that they didn't have that diagnosis and they're not in pain or not feeling well right now. We're just seeing more than just that. Because normally what we do as human beings is we look at our cat is old, our cat has issues, and then we stop there. And then we go, oh my God, I'm so worried. What's going to happen? I have to give him this medicine. What if he doesn't want to take it? Oh no, he's not eating, right? We have all this stuff that we do. So it snowballs, right? We just stop in that space and we kind of foment that negative space and we build on it and we create more of it. So, what I'm asking you to do is acknowledge this is what's going on physically, diagnosis wise. He's not eating, whatever's happening. But don't stop there. Expand your mind and see more. See to the heart of your cat. One of the ways you can do that is remind yourself of who your cat is, their personality, their quirks, their silliness, their playfulness, their opinionatedness, whatever it is about them. See that part of your cat. Focus on that. And then you can expand that even more and you can think about what are some of the best times we've had together? What are some of the ways my cat has changed my life, made me a better person? Like we can keep going. And this helps us to, when we look at our cat, we're seeing more than what's wrong. We're expanding our mind. We're seeing with our Reiki eyes. This is what the P in perfection means. And I think this is actually the hardest of all the 4 letters that we're going to talk about tonight in Follow the PAWS. So that's why I wanted to take extra time to really talk about that. So let's move on to the A in PAWS, which is agency. So a lot of people don't know what this means, and it's a big piece of the Let Animals Lead method. So I want to take a minute and talk about the definition of agency. So the traditional definition is agency is the capacity of individuals to have the power and resources to fulfill their potential. That's your agency. I have the power, I have the resources, I can fulfill my potential. It's usually used in the context of talking about human beings because the ability of animals to express their agency is often limited by humans, the space we give them, the opportunities we give them. But in the Let Animals Lead method of Animal Reiki, one of our most important goals is to empower animals in the session as much as possible by encouraging them to choose to trust us, to choose to connect, to empower them to fulfill their healing potential on their own terms, in their own time. And so the trust we build between us is a huge part of this. So that means if you're going to give your animals agency, which I hope that you do over a Reiki session, you have to realize that your animals are capable of deciding whether or not to connect with the energy in the session, whether or not to come forward with trust, whether or not to connect to the compassionate space that you've created, whether or not they want to engage in their own self-healing process with you. And when they do, how that looks will be different for every animal. So your cat, as I said earlier, may choose one way to connect to Reiki. They go in their bed, in the little spot of sun on the windowsill, they fall asleep. Or your cat may come right next to you on the couch, roll on their back, all 4 feet in the air, and just be in bliss. Every cat has their own way of expressing, yes, I've stepped in to that Reiki connection, and it's wonderful. They have different ways of expressing that. So what we need to do in order to let animals lead, we have to trust their choice and their preference. So we have to stop judging animals the way they're doing the Reiki session. So, oh, you didn't come on my lap, darn, you're not doing it right. Or I want that. I want you to come and sit on my lap. Or how quickly are they healing? You have an animal that has a behavior problem and you do one Reiki session and then you're disappointed because it's not gone. We have to let go of those kind of timelines, judgments, things, because those ultimately become obstacles in connection. There's no right way or right time for healing, according to our human expectation. Instead, we have to trust the capacity of animals to fulfill their healing potential uniquely for themselves. We have to trust that. So when we give animals agency, you know what that means? They could say no. They could walk away. Or they could say yes, come forward. Or they could say maybe and take some time to decide whether they can trust you. And whether they say yes or maybe is determined by how much freedom you give them, how much they know they can trust that you're going to let them lead, the agency you give them. If they say no, it could be very likely that your ego got in the way and you started leading the process and you started putting expectations on what needed to happen and you weren't listening to their needs and choices and preferences. One of the most interesting type of cats, I think, to work with when I think about agency is feral cats, because feral cats don't like people that much. They definitely are food motivated, perhaps, but they don't seek out a relationship the way our kitties at home do. They're much more independent and wary, very wary of us. And so when I work with feral cats, most of the feral cats I've worked with are the ones who are in the process of trap, neuter, return. You guys know those programs they have in cities. And I have friends who are deeply involved in those programs. And so I'll go over to their house and offer Reiki to the cats while they're recovering from their neutering before they get, back to their neighborhood. And so these cats are not happy, they're not feeling good, and they're in a strange environment and they just want to be outside. So that's kind of the attitude and the negative feeling often when I start Reiki sessions with these cats. But some of the things I've learned from working with them over the years is how to present myself so that they have true agency. Because let's say they're in a cage in the corner of my friend's apartment. How much agency do they have? They can't leave the cage. They're stuck. They're in the house. They don't want to be there, right? So when we're offering Reiki in that environment, we have to step back physically to a point where they stop tensing and having their wide eyes at us. They start to relax. You can see you keep backing up and then they relax. Okay, that's where you start the session. I like to sit down on the floor, not up high. And then I never face them. So normally I'll sit sideways so I can still take a peek, see how they're doing. But if that's too much, I'll turn my back on them, and then I might take a peek after a while to see what's going on. So I learned the more that I took my physical presence away and trusted the energy without physical contact, without focusing on them, just sitting further away, going inward with my meditation and letting them decide. So I sort of visualize I'm creating this beautiful sort of light, sitting in this light, and then inviting them, if you want to step into this peaceful, compassionate space, you may, but totally up to them, right? So I know when I've got it right because they come all the way forward to the front of the cage and they lay down and go to sleep. And any of you know feral cats, if they lay down in your presence and go to sleep with you still there, physically there, they trust you. And that's huge for these cats. And that really comes from the agency, even amidst the cage, and they're not in their natural environment and they don't want to be there. You still have the power to give them agency in the Reiki session. And that is a very powerful thing to offer, as opposed to going in there and saying, okay, you need Reiki, I'm doing this to you. And then we've taken all of that away from them. That leads us to the W of Follow the PAWS. W stands for wisdom. This is really important in the dynamic energetically that you set up with your cats. And cats, perhaps more than any other species, and I mean domesticated cats, feral cats, and wild cats like lions and leopards and tigers, the whole cat family, perhaps they're the most sensitive when we don't do this, seeing them as teachers. So, in other words, recognizing their wisdom, seeing them as our teacher, going forward in a super humble place, ready to learn from them. Especially with the wild cats that I've worked with over the years. Black leopard Makoto being one of them, buddy of mine from many years ago. They sense any hint of ego, any hint of, thank God I'm here, I'm the Reiki master, I'm here to fix you. And they will turn away and absolutely have nothing to do with you. But when, on the other hand, we approach them and see them as teachers, teachers of helping us to be our best self, helping us be more present in this moment, helping us learn selflessness, encouraging us to develop patience and kindness and compassion, right? If we approach them, seeing them as those teachers, now they're going to be like, okay, this human gets me. And then they're going to be so much more open to connecting with you energetically because they like your energy now. It feels totally different to them when you see them as a teacher. Okay. Now, animals, as I said, are more sensitive to energy. Cats especially really respond to this kind of humility when we can approach them in that way. So try it. If you've tried Reiki with your cats, you haven't had the best success, you are probably focusing on what was wrong, seeing them as needing to be fixed, and taking over. And that is something that will cause cats to say, no, thank you. So try it. Try changing that and seeing them as your wise guru and see the difference it makes. Which leads me to the S in PAWS, and that is space. S stands for space. Let animals lead practitioners respect the physical space, the mental space, the emotional space, and the spiritual space of animals. How do we respect that space? We never impose our expectations on animals, our will on animals, our physical presence on animals, our thoughts on animals. We maintain really good boundaries and invite the animals to come forward. They can come forward physically, cats that like to come and cuddle up and lay on your lap. They can come forward mentally, cats that will focus on you from a distance, and you can see they give you those little kitty blinks where they're looking at you and you see that they're really connecting. They can connect emotionally, where a cat that's stressed can really relax and you can just feel how wonderful that is. They can connect spiritually when they're passing away, that the spiritual space is so heightened and they can really step in and be, you can help see them off in a peaceful way as they leave their physical body. But the key in all of this is that it is the cat who makes that first move and the cat who decides. So we can't force physical contact. We should never initiate physical contact. Always let the cats come to you. That's really key. That's how you're giving them space to choose. We also don't push our mental agenda by focusing on their diagnosis, beaming energy to this or that issue, right? I talked about this earlier when I was talking about perfection. And we respect their emotional space. How do we do that? By letting go of our emotional junk. We go up into a session with our cat and we're just chaotic emotionally. They feel that we're bringing them into all that emotional chaos. How do we give them emotional space? We've got to clear ourselves out. We've got to let go of all that, bring ourselves back into balance. Now we can respect the emotional space of our cats. And our cats may be going through something themselves. But if we're all in our own stuff, we're not even going to be able to notice or sense it. But if we're in a calm, grounded space, then our cat can trust us emotionally and can choose to step in if they wish. So, to sum up, following the pause, the purpose of a Let Animals Lead Animal Reiki session is to hold space through meditation, to facilitate our cat's innate, natural abilities, their birthright in self healing, rather than doing healing to fix this or that issue. Okay. So, all of these things, perfection, agency, wisdom, and space, all of these things ultimately are about respecting our animals and creating an environment where they feel safe and comfortable to connect, creating the conditions for a successful animal Reiki connection. And as we know, animal Reiki, it's not magic, but it's magical. And I hope that you have a beautiful, if you haven't already, I hope that maybe you can try some of these techniques and have an amazing, magical experience of connection and bonding and healing with your kitty friends. Right. So that is what I wanted to talk about tonight. I want to remind everybody that the next session of Let Animals Lead Training Level 1, 2, and 3 starts in July, next month, like the week of July 8th, I believe. And I have switched up my level 3s now. I'm offering 2 tracks for level 3. One is the practitioner teacher, as I've always done. And the other one is a separate practitioner only, level 3, with an option to upgrade to teacher at a later date. And the purpose of this level 3 practitioner is that it will be open to any Reiki level 3 or Reiki master from another lineage. You want to come in and learn the level 3 techniques of the Let Animals Lead method. You can do that. And then later on, if you decide you want to teach, there's stuff you could do to upgrade to teacher, but you can at least come and learn the spiritual techniques that we learn in level 3. So I'm really excited about opening up more easily to outside Reiki people to learn the Let Animals Lead method. So contact me if you want more information. Go on my website, check out my shop page, all my products. It's all there detailed on animalreikisource.com. So I want to let you guys know about those changes and things that are coming up next month so you can plan ahead. All right. So let's open it up now to sharing. I would love to hear, since our focus tonight is sharing Reiki with cats, and actually my meditation focus intention for my Let Animals Lead community this whole month is going to be sharing love and light and compassion with all cats in the world, domestic, wild, every cat. We offer them an intention of support and love and light in our daily meditation. So we're holding all cats this month in our circle. But I would love to hear from those of you who've had amazing Reiki experiences with your kitties. Any of you would like to share, or if you have any questions about anything I've talked about tonight. So I'll open it up to you guys. You can raise your hand. I can call on you. You can just unmute yourself. However you want to do it tonight is perfect. Corrine.
Hi, Kathleen.
Hey.
I had you do some Reiki on a cat maybe 12, 15 years ago. And so I have some new cats now. And basically, I hear what you say. I'm wondering how to manage a multi-cat family where you have such different personalities and you have a little jealousy, I think, going on. At least that's what I think is going on. One wanting to have dominance over the other. I guess that's all I say right now.
Yeah, first of all, offer the Reiki session to everybody all the time. Don't shut anybody out or focus on any one cat. Just focus inward on your meditation. Choose a time of day when they're happy and relaxed. Maybe it's dinner time. Maybe it's right after dinner. Their bellies are full. They're sleepy. Choose a good time of day when they're more likely to feel happy and relaxed. And then just go inward with your Reiki meditation. Maybe it's something simple like the Hara breathing, which I'll guide you guys in later when we do our healing circle. And the other thing you can add in, which this is really a technique to help with seeing the perfection, and that's affirmations. And an affirmation that I like to use for myself when I'm in a situation that is disharmonious for whatever reason is the word, can you guess? Harmony. So what I like to do is for my own energy, for me, for myself, is to create that space in myself and radiate that space as like an offering to the cat so that I'm radiating harmony on all levels, creating that beautiful space of peacefulness, groundedness, compassion, not judging, not trying to fix, but also, doesn't harmony feel good? Wouldn't it be amazing if we could all be harmonious together? Look how good this feels, like creating that space in a really positive way. So those are just a couple of suggestions I have. And don't focus on the dominant one and think, I better beam Reiki at you because you're the naughty one. Don't do that. They'll sense and feel that. So just again, seeing the perfection of all the kitties, all is well, and we're all living in perfect harmony. You're all loved. You're all, really whatever affirmations come to your mind to help you keep that really open, compassionate, non-judgment space that will really help them feel drawn to step in and connect with you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Olive.
Okay, I don't have a cat. um, I don't have a feral. I'd like to learn more about how to provide Reiki sessions with cats. So I would like to, go to the shelter and
Mhm. Mhm.
visit the cats. I'm not. I would like some advice on how to begin a session for a cat in a shelter. If somebody has some thoughts on that, I would appreciate that. I would like to have a cat, but I have 3 dogs and I spend all my time with horses. But I would love to try and embrace
Mhm.
cats too. And I have had ferals come to me,
Mhm.
um, but at that time that I wasn't doing Reiki, providing Reiki. I just didn't know anything about it. So if somebody has some suggestions about how best to approach a cat, like in a shelter for the first time for me, I would appreciate
Well,
that.
first of all, you've been doing dogs, so you're going to see it's easier. It's quiet. There's no barking. They're not 100 pounds jumping up on you. So already, even if they jump on your shoulder, they're little. So it's already going to be easier. You've already tackled the most difficult, chaotic thing in the dog kennel. So you've already got that going for you. Okay. So now there's two different ways usually that they organize cats in shelters. One is that they're each in their individual cage, and another is that they might have a room where they're all free roaming. And you can do Reiki in either case. Okay. So if, let's say, they have a room where they're all in cages, maybe stacked cages around the room, then find a place to sit in a chair. And if you connect, what I like to do is go around and greet each of them and say hello. And there might be one that comes and puts his arm through and is meowing at you and really connects. So then that might be the place where I set my chair. I set my chair there. I can reach up and touch his paw if that's allowed at the shelter. Sometimes they don't want you to touch them, so you have to find out. But um, kind of creating that bond with the one that is so happy to see you, and start there, but it spreads out to the whole space and the whole room. If there's a cat that seems scared of you, that seems really upset, don't place your chair facing or near that cage. You want to back up enough that all the cats feel comfortable, because remember, it's not about physical proximity, it's about the energy that you're radiating. If you're in a free environment, let's say they have a big room, they have 8 cats running around, there's cat trees, there's toys, you know, they may be very active, but that doesn't mean they can't connect with you. So find a place that it doesn't seem to bother any of them, where you can sit. If you feel comfortable, you could sit on the floor, maybe leaning against a wall in a corner somewhere there. So you're down low, they don't see you physically threatened. If you need to sit in a chair because it's more physically comfortable, that's fine too. Just chair placement. Maybe with your back to the wall, sort of in this on the side, in the corner, something like that. That way they can move away or they can move forward to see you.
What about like eye contact? Should you not like look at them or? Uh,
It depends on the cat. Like feral cats don't really like you to look at them, and you can tell by the expression in their eyes if they're like really like scared. And then I would just sort of sit sideways so you're not facing them. But they're not sensitive to eye contact the way dogs are. In fact, cats, they look at you really lovingly, and one of the ways that they show you affection is by a slow blink while they're looking at you. And so you can actually really connect through the eye contact if the cat invites it.
right.
Yeah.
So they do have there's subtle cues here. Okay, that's probably would be helpful for me to learn what some of those are.
And the other thing, yes, absolutely. And the other thing, you can read about those on different articles on shelter websites. But the other thing that's good to know is one of the ways that cats show stress in the shelter environment is by pretending to sleep, but they're actually not really sleeping. Like you wouldn't see a dog do that. If you're working with a dog and they go to sleep, like they're really asleep. But a cat can be shutting down in despair. or, whatever trauma. And so they just shut down, but they're not sleeping. It's just a stress response. And so if there's a cat who's really fearful and your chair is too close and they go to sleep, that could be a stress response. So you want to be really careful to, just always err on the side of more physical space and facing away, and also not being above, like being down below. Like cats like to be up high and we're down below. Then they feel they can look down, they feel more secure. So if it's comfortable, I like to sit on the floor. But with a dog, they might jump all over you and knock you over, so a chair is better with the dog, right? So these are some kind of little differences when you're working with.
Well, that's very helpful. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Stephanie.
Hi there.
Hi.
I'm wondering, is it possible for a cat to kind of turn on the Reiki itself while it's sitting on you? I've had a couple of our cats come and sit on me while I'm watching TV, and it feels like all of a sudden my hands are heating up and tingling, and the cat is actually laying there calmly for a change. So is that possible?
It's possible with every animal. Animals are healers naturally. And so if we think of Reiki as spiritual energy, spiritual healing energy, then yes, absolutely, animals or cats are turning on the Reiki. I think that I forget whether it was Heart Math Institute or some other research institute, but they did. And if somebody on the call remembers this study, remind me the specifics, but they actually measured the vibration resonance of a cat's purr. And it was the same resonance as what your bones need to heal. And so they actually purr at a healing resonance physically that is measurable. That's pretty amazing.
I've heard that.
So yeah. So and I really believe that when animals sit with us and open their hearts and really connect with us, that it is a profound healing for us on the soul level. Like maybe we have a stomach ache or a headache and we notice, oh yeah, that's feeling better. So we might notice healing on that level, but that's just a surface. But what they're really doing is they're healing our hearts. And it's really just by being present with us. They're not actually doing healing. They're just naturally being healing. And for me, that's like the lesson with what we should be doing with Reiki is we should just be being Reiki, because that's how the animals do it. They make it look easy.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else want to share?
Can I share a non-cat story?
Sure.
I was listening to your last podcast, the one on farm animals, on my way to an anniversary celebration of a school. I did not know there was going to be a petting zoo there, but they had baby animals and I couldn't help myself. I went and sat with them and not that I've taken your training, but I was attempting kind of a just open space, come into it if you like approach. And of course, the sheep and the goats came up and licked my chin, and I was a little nervous they might nibble on my ears. And then the pig actually came and walked up on me, and then all of a sudden laid down and just closed its eyes. And then I got back in my car afterwards, and that was the next part of your podcast saying that pigs will do that.
Oh my God, that's so perfect. I love that. That's so
The little
beautiful.
bunnies were sitting around behind me. They'd gone around behind and were sniffing or sitting right beside me. And it was very interesting. So
Well, and just being there still, the stillness and the patience, we get to see what they want, right? Because you didn't go in there with that agenda, and that's what makes a difference. They feel safe, and then you can actually see what they want.
I was waiting to see if the baby goat would fall over. He was having a Reiki nap standing up on the other side of the pen, just closing the eyes.
Nice.
It was really cool.
It's so cute. I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Thanks.
Anybody else?
Kathleen,
Yes.
this is Steph.
Oh, hi, Steph.
Well, I have to say that I wanted to describe an event that took place because one of your meditations that I had gotten years ago when you first started having your monthly meditations um, was very important in the event. And it has to do with my cat. I had several cats, many cats at the time. I still have many cats, but not as many. And I had decided I was going to practice your earth and sky
Mm-hmm.
meditation. So I sat in the living room floor on a pillow. And I thought, well, I'm not very good at meditating at all, but we'll see what happens. And I started to listen to it, close my eyes, and really felt um, as I was going through and listening to the meditation, I really felt the grounding of the earth and the beauty of the sky, the healing light coming down from the sky. And it was just a wonderful feeling. And one of the cats that I had, his name was Tiger. We didn't name him that. That somebody else named him that. Um, he had a tough life, and so many of the other cats were wary around him. But he never really wanted to have any kind of real connection um, on a physical in a physical way. Just where there's food, he wanted his food. Anyway, so I sat down and I was in the middle of this meditation. And about halfway through, I decided to open my eyes. And standing or sitting just like a sphinx, 3 feet in front of me, was Tiger staring at me, just sitting there and staring. And it was such a change in him that he would come from wherever he was to come and be that close. Um, I was very affected by that. And I thought, I got to tell Kathleen at some point what this meditation did. And I know that he was feeling the love,
Mm-hmm.
feeling the healing. And I think he was also sending me a signal at that point because he did the slow link, the slow wink. And I acknowledged that and I thanked him for that. And then I continued on with the meditation until the end. But it was quite a quiet but very strong and lovely moment that I'll never forget. He's no longer with me, but
Oh,
um, he's been gone for several years, and it was your meditation that brought him uh, to be in front of me like that, which was wonderful, and be in the energy. Thank you so much.
oh, thank you so much for sharing that. That's so special. And as you were talking about that, I had a memory sounded so similar, and but it was with, um, it was actually with a tiger, a real tiger, actually at the Care Foundation, a Siberian tiger. Those are the ones with the really big, huge feet and kind of the big. They're just bigger than the regular tigers. Um, and I sat outside his enclosure, and he had like a big yard with like a pool and big tree and stuff. And then he had his little sort of place, his little house where he lived like at night. And so I sat near the door, the cage door, the kennel door. And I started my meditation, and he came and he sat down straight in front of me, and there must have been only 3 feet between us,
Mm.
and he looked directly into my eyes, and
Wow.
he just stayed there and just for, like, 10 minutes, and the feeling of connection, and it was like he could see all the way to my soul. And,
Mhm.
tigers are super active, and he was always pacing. The ones that are in captivity, they pace a lot because they naturally, their habitats are huge, right? And so it's difficult for them when they're not free. But so he paced a lot, and then, he would take naps and whatever. But to have him sitting there purposefully and just with this look in his eyes for just, it felt like forever. It was probably around 10 minutes. It was just, I was so in awe and so humbled and so grateful. And so it was funny that you were telling that story about your tiger, and I thought about my tiger experience.
I have the words I don't have, but you do. The awe and the um, just you look in their eyes and you see such depth and time,
Mhm.
and you get that feeling of wow, you know.
And the wisdom and
Yeah.
the knowing that they have inside of them, it
Yep.
suddenly becomes clear to us, and it's just magical.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Well, thank you all for those wonderful stories about kitty cats tonight, big and small. Fun to conclude them all. So let's finish tonight with a little animal healing circle together, and I'll guide you in a little hara breathing meditation, which is one of my favorites to do when I'm sharing Reiki with animals. So let's go into Gasho, palms together in front of your heart. And we're going to set our intention and just let's take a minute to dedicate this meditation tonight to our animals. We invite our animals in to share the space. And also, let's open that circle up to all cats, domestic and wild, big cats, little cats, young cats, old cats, but especially the ones in shelters and sanctuaries. We invite them to share the space with us tonight. We'll rest our hands on our lap. And now we're going to focus on the breath. So I want you to visualize your breath as a pure and clear light. And as you breathe in, it comes in through your crown and fills your body with light, moving all the way down to the lower belly. And then as you exhale, imagine that light expands out your skin, into your aura, and out into the universe. So breathing in the light, filling your body, connecting with the belly, and breathing out, expanding that light all around you. And breathing in and breathing out, find your own pace with the breath. Just focus on the breath and the movement of the light. And just let go of everything else, just focusing on the breath. You can see the light coming in and the light flowing out. And then relax your breath and just see yourself sitting in this beautiful space of light that you created, the light within and the light all around you. And we can imagine that this light is filled with peacefulness and grounding, harmony and balance, compassion, loving kindness, perfect healing. So we can just relax into this space of light where we're sitting, light all around us. And we can see this light as a gentle invitation for our animals and the animals that are sitting with us, but also the animals on our mind and in our heart, the animals farther away. We just invite those animals in to share the space, especially tonight, our focus with the cats. Who are the cats that speak to your heart? Just bring them to your mind and heart, invite them in. This light is bright enough and big enough to hold them all. But remember, it's completely up to them. All we have to do is shine. And bringing our hands back into Gasho. And just take a moment to thank your animals for sharing the space with you. However you chose to connect with them, however they chose to step in, completely perfect in this moment. And let's remember to hold all of the cats in the world, especially shelter and sanctuary cats. Let's hold them in our Reiki practice this month. It's a special loving focus. And setting our intention to finish, take a nice deep breath and slowly come back and open your eyes. And remember, this month I have a brand new blog on my website, animalreikisource.com. You click on the blog, and I have a brand new blog about how cats are teachers and healers, how our felines teach us the 6 pillars of Animal Reiki. And so I hope you enjoy that blog as well. And I will have this podcast posted up on my Animal Reiki Source YouTube in a couple days so that you can watch it again if you'd like, or direct your cat loving friends to it if they're interested in what Animal Reiki is and how it can help their kitties too. So wishing you and all of your animal friends a beautiful month of June, and I will see you guys in July for our next Animal Reiki talk. In the meantime, blessings, everyone. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.